First and foremost, thank you for everybody for joining us yet again for another episode of the Financial Griot, where we discuss anything money, culture, even our understanding of how life is changing for us throughout everyday stage and every form. Recently, Biden has lifted restrictions for COVID, so that means everybody's going back to work, back in action. And by maybe the end of this year, we're going to be back to a new normal. So with that being said, it was very apropos for us to do a resume, an interview styled podcast with a special guest. But before I get to our special guest, yet again, my name is Lawrence Gonzalez, otherwise known as the Neighborhood Finance Guy on the interweb. You can find me on IG or on my award-winning website, where I drop a lot of blogs that none of you guys read. But it's all good, because other people are reading it and are giving you nominations that matter. So if you're not clicking it and finding out all the little nuances, that's on you. Because guess what? I was right about the whole investing, but hey, y'all either sleeping in the corner and y'all lost a lot of good money. So in your face, y'all should be reading my blog. With that being said, I'm passing it over to one of my other co-hosts, but I am going to throw shade at Atlanta for not being here. Why? Yet again, guys, let's say it with me. She is dating. She's in the dating phase, so she don't see us as nobody, as somebody anymore. We are nobodies to her, and whoever she's dating is very important. With that being said, I'll pass it over to Lovely.
Well, I'm going to be nice to you all today. Thank you so much for listening to Financial Griot. My name is Lovely Mardellis. I'm the co-host, and I'm super happy to be here. We're going to talk about some resumes and getting things better. I am the CEO of 1159, where we help companies unlock growth, and that's what we do. That's what we love to do, and we work with B2B companies. So if you have a B2B company, and if you don't know what B2B is, then you probably don't know that what we do is going to help you. So if you're a B2B company and you know what that means, hit us up and we'll definitely be able to help you to scale and transform the way you're doing business so that you can win more business and grow your brand equity.
With that being said, now that we got the cool people out the way, we're going to actually get our special VIP guest to introduce himself, because I personally hate when podcasts, and not just me, that's just a me thing, when podcast people kind of read down an entire list and kind of do the bullet points of who this person is as if they actually know him. No, I want the person to actually introduce themselves to the audience. So if they lie about what they do, come after them. Do not come after me. So please. I do have with us Michael Theodore. He's going to be talking about resumes and going to be our resident experts of all this. So what's up, Mike? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am a career counselor at New York University. I've been in higher education, the higher education career space, for the past 6 years or so. And I help students get career ready, essentially. I help them calm their nerves. I help them make the monster in the job search process less like a monster and something that they can manage, essentially. So I just help students get career ready.
Cool. Why do you do it though? Why do you, I guess, why is this a passion for you?
Well,
or better yet, is it a passion for you? Or are you just trying to get this job, trying to get this cash?
I will say it's not necessarily a passion. It's more so of an interest, but I really do like my job. I do like helping students, because one of the things about higher education is this: without students, higher education is nothing. So in other words, students represents the VIP customer for us in the student-facing roles. Those of us who are counselors, those of us who are advisors, you have to have that certain energy, that extra energy, to want to help students. And that's something I want to do. I love hearing that a student got like a job offer at Amazon for like 129,000K. I love hearing a student who made like the transition from English literature to finance. I love hearing stories how students were able to go against what their parents wanted and go after the careers that they want. I love hearing stories about how, with the help from me, the help from other career service professionals, students became familiar with the language of networking. And I love hearing stories how students got so good at the art of writing resumes that they help their friends along the way. They're essentially paying it forward. So in a sense, I help students because that's what's required from a higher education professional, because without the students, higher education would be nothing.
He sounded like a politician up in here. He's like, hey, without the students, we will be nothing. It's like, are you running for any of that? I was just messing with it. Like, I know Mike ever since college, so I actually understood his position. And he's also done a lot of spoken word poetry. So you're gonna find a little bit of that in regards to how he speaks. So you're gonna listen to that passion, but you're also gonna hear a little bit of a poetry and a rhyming scheme to it as well. I see Lovely got like some questions in her mind. She's like, what do you think about all that?
Mike, I wanted to kind of address the fact that you said that with higher education that students have become VIPs and were essentially always VIPs. My thing is, what trends have you seen change over the course of the last couple of years with the move of internet, move of sensationalizing entrepreneurship? Like, what has been like the conversations that you feel that have been most recurrent with students? And how are you guys retaining someone's attention to know that, yes, you going through this bachelor's or master's program is actually a viable way for you to get into a better career and your career path?
I'll be honest, that's a great question. Since we've been in the post-pandemic world, hopefully, knock on wood, we completely get out of it. The most frequent of conversations, one of the most frequent of conversations I have with students is Zoom fatigue, essentially. Zoom fatigue. Not having the ability to communicate with somebody they're trying to network with over Zoom. Not feeling confident enough to speak with somebody over Zoom. Not understanding how to connect with somebody, how to find people. Not even having like an understanding of who is in their network. They could be in a club or an organization, and that organization could host conferences every year. And the conferences may have like specific people from different industries come by, and the students not recognizing that that's a networking opportunity. The students not recognizing that the person that was in their organization who graduated 2 years ago and is like a software engineer at Google, that represents like a networking opportunity in itself. So networking has been one of the biggest talking points within my meetings with students, within my email conversations with students, and even within my face-to-face interactions with students, because the term itself, networking, there's so much fear attached to it. Like even the word networking, people feel that you're using people to get to a specific goal. Networking isn't supposed to be like that. Network is another word for relationship, professional relationship. Network could represent mentorship. Network could be you finding an opportunity on LinkedIn that the person that you're networking with could see like an intrinsic benefit from, or a professional benefit from, meaning you're paying attention to the conversations that you're having with the person that you're attempting to network with. Understand? So networking in itself has been the most intimidating aspect for students to face during the job search process. So that's the trend I've been seeing, because LinkedIn in itself is a gold mine when it comes to networking. The alumni feature I saw at Florida State, I said, wow, there's people at HBO working at Florida State. I mean, working that went to Florida State. There's people who are at Amazon who went to Florida State, and so on and so on and so on. And I know some of these people. I had conversations with some of these people. I've been friends with some of these people. So with that being said, networking is the topic to me that students have the most fear about. The resume is something that they can overcome, but networking takes a different skill set, in my opinion. Thank you for that question.
You're welcome, Michael. I think what's so interesting is that this is a conversation Lawrence and I were just literally having. Like, this is so good. And I think it's going to help a lot of people hit on the nail because I know we're talking in the context of students, but like professionals have that issue. A lot of times people don't understand that your relationships and your relationship building skills can get you more money, more contracts like this compared to just, oh, I know what I know. But that's what we call soft skills. And I've been talking about this for the last 2-3 years with my friends and everyone around me, that your soft skills are going to become like a high level requirement for all jobs, even the technical ones, because that's where, like, if a software engineer understands how to communicate better with the customer, they produce better work than the one that doesn't. So that relationship building aspect is going to become so astronomically important. But the fear is we've been on social media where it's like, I'm just going to post. I don't really have to speak. I don't have to write. And then social media is realizing, wait, people love video. People love seeing people. It's always been that way. We love communicating and seeing people's faces. And I think people need to start going into those conversations without any expectation of outcome. So doing the good, breadcrumb relationships that might result into opportunities down the line. So I'm so grateful that you highlighted that. You did such an articulate job. Lawrence, anything you want to add or you want to segue?
Yeah, I think that's a very important distinction, especially in this day and age, how people are doing everything virtually. And that's been the push. And because of it, there's a whole generation growing up without the true physical context of being in that one space with somebody else. So sometimes it's the way somebody fidgets, somebody moves, their eyes kind of move, like how you direct and have a flow of conversation. And if you haven't been doing that, especially if you've been like let's say you're a freshman when this entire pandemic started, and now you're like a junior ready to, or even a sophomore when this pandemic happened, and now you're literally graduating this year, you might not have like this one-on-one experience with different people with the varying degrees of people that you met. And now you're going to get into the space where you have to do not even virtual interviews. You're going to have to do physical interviews again, right? Showing up at the office space, having a conversation. And I've actually also noticed that the next generation is underprepared for the task at hand. So you think about digitals, that everything they've ever done is just social media. It's online. So how do they communicate with Gen Xers? How do they communicate on one-on-one with millennials that've been in the workplace for the last 10 years? How do they kind of interact and actually share their perspective without being or feeling without being disagreeable or feeling as if whatever somebody said is of somewhat an objective to them? So that's going to be an interesting space. Another question for you, Mike. What like I see Lovely's like some good stuff. Mike, for you, I know there's a lot of people have been doing the Great Resignation. How do the college students feel about that? Are they shifting? Are they moving away from like the traditional 9 to 5? I think that's part of what Lovely asked. Are they shifting from the 9 to 5? Or are they just kind of just going to work for themselves? Like, what are they saying? Or I guess the prevailing idea is college a scam? Is it a scam? That's the big thing. It's like the quote unquote, the headline every time, like college is a scam. Is college a scam? To your perspective, is it a scam? Or is it how we use it?
I think it depends. It depends on which college you are going to, and it depends on who the leadership is within that college. If leadership within the college doesn't necessarily care about the students, sees them as like a cash cow, and is putting out majors that's not necessarily beneficial for students at all, and they're not putting in focused certificates as we see sometimes with certain schools. Case in point, NYU has like a quantitative research certificate that people could get that can increase their quantitative schools. University of Chicago also has like a quantitative focused research that people could get within a year that could help sharpen their quantitative skills. And when I say quantitative, I'm speaking to numbers. You having like an understanding of statistical software, you having an understanding of how to run R is something that's valuable in the workspace. So if universities have like this intentionality of putting academic programs or academic degrees specifically that's valuable to the workspace and emphasizing that type of that value, even within traditional qualitative degrees like sociology. Telling students like, listen, it's still important to have like a quantitative focus as well. Then you can see that the universities are paying attention to the world at large. It is paying attention to the specific trends that's going on.
So you're saying it is a scam? You gotta come down on some point. Is it a scam or is it not a scam? Or I see there's some of the little soft points that you're saying here, but you gotta have to be a little bit more definitive. Is it a scam for a lot of people, or is it how we use college? Because at the same time that you stated that the collegiate experience at the leadership level, maybe they have just random like majors that are available out there, but those random majors are ran by actual professors. Are those professors, is it not their job or accountability to say, hey, maybe you might not want to be in this major. Maybe you might want to tell the kids like, hey, at that level, let the kids know that they need a more quantitative approach. But whose fault is it? Is it the professor? Is it the school? Or is it the student that they're supposed to kind of go into school with the idea of they need a job after this? Who's at fault here?
Everyone is at fault, in my opinion. The student could be at fault for not paying attention to what's being presented at orientation. The professor could be at fault because he or she is so jaded about how their career went in academics that they're giving the student toxic advice that's very, very personalized. The leadership could be at fault because they feel like the student's main is not paying attention. It's just about a buck anyway. I tried carrying a long time ago and now I got hurt. So multiple people are at fault because in a sense, hurt people hurt people. So if I had to land on something, I'd say it really depends on how you use college. How do you view college? I'll get personal for a second. At Florida State, I was like an African American studies and sociology major. And then afterwards, I decided to have like a conversation with somebody by the name of I can give his name. He's a mentor of mine at Florida State University, and he told me about the field of higher education. He said, "Listen, within X number of years, the baby boomers will retire, and you'll have access to this. All right, just make sure you're taking the necessary courses there in terms of research, blah blah blah, this and that, and you should be okay." And then I ended up getting my master's in higher ed at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Ended up getting a job at Purdue within like a couple of months. And I was able to do that because I had a mentor that told me what the game was. Now, when it comes to university spaces as well, if you're at a university that's very, very intentional in having students connect with people on campus, increasing mentorship on campus, then you have a university that actually cares. Case in point, New York University has something called NYU Violet. It's a networking apparatus that NYU does have. And it tries to connect students and alumni with common majors, common interests. So mentorship, networking could possibly be made. I remember at Florida State, they had mentorship programs as well. I was a member of Progressive Black Men Incorporated, still a member of Progressive Black Men Incorporated, and we had a program called the Mentorship Drive, and it featured us trying to connect mentors, college students with mentors all across campus. So if you have people that care at multiple levels within the university, I'm talking about professors, students, high-level administrators, then in itself, it's not a scam. But if you're living in a toxic university environment that has a whole bunch of people that feel jaded, that don't really care about students, that only focuses in on the buck, then yes, that is a scam. All right, that is a scam. Absolutely, I can't agree more.
Hey, don't don't indict yourself out here in these streets. Like some personal experiences. Nah, I'm not saying it's personal, But ultimately, I think it's very interesting that you say that the idea that hurt people. And I think it's also true that maybe hurt people teach people those other toxic traits, like you stated. And I think it's part of our job to really do ourselves a service of not just scapegoating all responsibility away from the student, because even for myself, as I matriculated through FSU, they always had the career center. I barely ever seen it. I barely ever went into it. I barely ever accessed those platforms, or even online. They still have it today. They have the Seminole mentors and so on and so forth, the alumni outreach. They have this stuff, but it comes down to the students. And a lot of times, especially for Black and brown students, we typically aren't at the forefront of using these services and to the maximum of its ability. And I think that's something that we have to stick on the students in this. And I personally stick it right on them, and I keep it stuck right on them. Because if we're not using these metrics, we're not using these opportunities, then whose fault is it anyways? Is it the administration the administration tries its best to put some money and resources towards a program. And when nobody uses the program, obviously you delete it. That's what you do in any business, right? And Lovely, you're a business person. Why would you create something that nobody uses and keep pumping money into it because nobody uses it? You're going to make the decision as a leader to cut it off. And then does it look like the university doesn't care? Maybe to the person that doesn't know the history, but in truth, you might have ran it, saw that it has no effectiveness, and then you realize maybe you need to try again. A lot of times it comes down to the students coming into the university and using the resources as they are. And even to the point where I guess this conversation about resumes, I saw online, this one girl posted that, well, she was told by a mentor or somebody that she needs to make her resume less Black. And I challenged her on that. I'm like, why would you do this? Why would you create a less Black resume? Then if you feel that your Blackness is very important, then why would you dumb it down? And why would you feel it necessary? It was like a big back and forth. And obviously, I'm always the hated one. But at the end of the day, what do you feel about that? Do you feel that we need to almost like make our resumes anti-Black in order for us to fit into spaces, or anti-brown in order to fit into some spaces and get those opportunities? Or do we need to work on different elements of a resume that really changes the context of how it's received?
That's to me or Lovely.
Hey, that's on anybody. Like, this is a conversation, man. Let's roll. Do not be afraid.
Lovely.
Mike is scared. Mike is scared, Lovely. Mike is scared. Save him.
I'll go first. So the less Black resume. Listen, I've seen quote unquote Black resumes where students are highlighting some of their leadership experiences within Black organizations, highlighting their experiences within Black activist work, or even highlighting some experiences within Black research work. And guess what? Those resumes were still solid. And those students were still able to get internships. Those students were still able to get jobs. Because what's being highlighted in those resumes, leadership, research, other experiences, is skills. It's skills. The type of bullet points that's being used. Bullet points that has percentages in it. Bullet points that has strong action verbs in it. Bullet points that's crafting a specific element that is connected to what the job description wants. If your resume is Black, it doesn't matter if your resume is Black, blackety Black, I don't care, charcoal Black, it does not matter. If you have the requisite skills that connects to what the job description wants, I'm talking about preferred skills, required skills, and basically you having a firm understanding of the job description in itself, then it does not matter. If it connects, it connects. It showcases that you're paying attention to the job description. It showcases that you understand the job description. And if you're able to write a Black resume that still connects to the job description, then you're still good, in my opinion. You're still good because you got the basic elements down. All right. Lovely. Did you have anything to add?
No, you hit it right on the nail. Like, everything has to do with skills that are aligned with the position. I have to hire people. I have to look at different things. I'm making projections of the positions that I want in the next year or two. everything is centered around the type of skill set that I want that person to have. I'm not going after the little contracts anymore. So the contracts are big. So I need people with big skills. I need people that are going to be super aligned with the things that I want to deliver to this firm that I'm trying to work with. And I don't mind paying you top dollar if I know that you're going to deliver, because I can see that the skills are aligned across the board. And so I used to actually hire for a tech company. I've hired over 100 people. And it comes to matter down if you're in that interview and I don't feel that everything that you conveyed on your resume that you can really deliver on, I don't care if you're purple. I'm not hiring you. So I've hired people that look like me, and I've also hired people that didn't look like me, because I'm not, when I'm in there, like I try my best not to even do bias, because when you're a hiring manager and you're in a position, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, lovely about this one in. So you have to make sure that the person has a skill set and alignment. So it's really about you actually being able to be in position to be able to articulate it, and don't just talk a good game on your resume. Come and deliver to me in that interview. Make me understand that you've done your research, that you're not just a vague person. We are living in the society that generalists are not going to be the winners very soon. People that can be specific, like you said, people that know specific software. You're coming into our company and we're hiring for customer success managers, and you don't know what a CRM is. I don't want you in line. Like, you don't know what a CRM is. So it's a lot of times we're thinking that we're not being hired because of Blackness. Oftentimes we're not being hired because we don't understand the language. And so you need to understand the language in which the industry that you're in. So many things, but that was so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think part of that is the problem that I saw with the conversation she was saying in regards to, oh yeah, we need to change our names, or because you're part of the NAACP or something that is going to show something about you. But in truth, like you said it, you hit it on the nail, Lovely. It's about how you even show up to the interview. If you show up aggressive, antagonistic to begin with, then obviously that's going to be interpreted in how you sound, how you respond, and how you feel. So if you already think that everybody's against you, then when you get into this interview, you're going to present that facade. And I think that's what people see. People see toxic people. Like, we see you. If you toxic, we like, I'm a beeline to the other side. And I think that's part of the interview process itself. Do you fit into the culture of the workspace? I was going to say corporate culture, but it's not. It's just the culture of whatever workspace that you're fitting into. If you're already in this interview with this very heavy, toxic mentality, why would I hire you to work for me and bring that level of energy into my space? Because that's an HR hell. To explain to people why I need to fire you, why after I spent so long and so much money to hire you, I would rather not hire you at all. I already skip over you. So I think part of this conversation about looking at a resume, to Lovely's point, and also to you, Mike's point, in regards, you need to actually know what the hell you're talking about. Just need to know it. Like, your entire resume cannot be something that's constructed out of thin air, that you're just using fluff words to make it sound good. Because in a conversation, I could tell if you're an Excel expert or not. If I ask you a few words about a pivot table and your eyes start looking glossed over, that's what's a dead giveaway. Now I know you're not really in there. you ain't in there. You don't know what you're talking about. You wrote it down because it sounded good. But in truth, you got to know what you have to know. And sometimes, even for myself and just for the audience, I started off with a resume that was 3 pages. And when I asked one of the ladies at the FSU career fair, why they didn't give me an opportunity to, I guess, look it over, because she even said it was 3 pages. I had to corner her and ask her to be very fair, very honest with me, be as blunt as possible, because I'm that kind of person. She said it's a 3-page resume and a majority of just words, filler, blah, blah, blah. And she even said it just was constructed poorly. And it hurt in that moment, but it was true. On top of that, I lacked the initiative to be like a networker, to Mike's point earlier. Like, a lot of people, like, we're not everybody's a people person. Not everybody gets in front of people and just become animated, sells themselves, so on and so forth. These are things you have to work on. If you don't have that kind of skill, this is why you get in something like Toastmasters, to work on your public speaking, to your communication. This is why you stop hanging out with all your friends, because all your friends is not going to develop the growth in communication that you need if you're always in the same space. Whereas if you go into different spaces now, when you're challenged with other people, you can start learning how other people interact, communicate, so on and so forth. So you can have a meaningful banter with somebody. to drop in something they might like or something like that to make yourself to position yourself to be a better applicant for this job. But if you don't have the experience, you don't have the skills, you don't have the understanding, and you're just jumping in here saying, oh, they don't like me because I resume. Maybe they don't like you because of your resume. Maybe your resume sucks. Maybe you need to work on this. And I worked on my resume 3 pages. I knocked that sucker down based on all this extra stuff I had in there, hula hoops, I don't know. I deleted all that stuff and it was down to just 1 page. And that 1 page was just not good enough. And when it was not good enough, when I mean not good enough, it meant that I didn't have the experience for the jobs I was going after. And I've noticed that a lot too, with some people going after almost CEO level jobs with beginner level experience. Bro, you just don't have the skills. You don't have the experience. You don't have the knowledge. So I started off with my first job making $23K per year, before taxes. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it was difficult, but I was able to switch up from that position to eventually gain the adequate experience so I could actually translate that back to my resume to get me better interviews, work on my interview skills, my Toastmaster skills to get into another interview so I could get money. Now I'm making over 6 figures. So it's not because of happenstance, because some of us just don't have the skill set and we don't have the knowledge and we're not working on our resume. So I don't know about you guys, but I just dropped my bombs out here. So I'm gonna walk to the side. Let y'all speak.
And you said something very important, Law. You said culture. It's important for the person who was writing the resume to understand the company culture. Yeah, I mean, it's even very important for the person who is about to get interviewed to understand the company culture. Let's say this is happening. You are interviewing. Your resume is in front of you. And they ask a classic question. Walk me through your resume. And before you answer that question, the person who was interviewing said, you know what? Scratch that. How does your resume connect with our company culture? How does your experiences connect with our company culture? In order to answer that question, you have to have a deep understanding of your resume. You have to know your resume inside and out, number one. And number two, you had to have done research on the company already. I'm not talking about surface level research where you go to the company website and you look at the about section and you look up some of the values of the company. No.
Hey, stop hating my about sections, man. I'll be looking at that. Continue.
No, I'm talking about going to their social media pages, going to their LinkedIn, seeing what they are posting. I'm talking about having conversations with people who worked at the company, who also happen to go to your school, about the company as well. I'm talking about utilizing the alumni feature on LinkedIn. I'm talking about talking to the necessary people so you can have like a firm understanding of what company culture is. So you could look at your resume and you can say, you know what, this experience, that experience, and that experience connects to company culture beautifully. And here is why. You have that understanding of your resume because it came from you. You have that understanding of the company because you did your research. And when you do your research, you have muscle memory. You create muscle memory. And the conversation in itself sounds that much more authentic. Okay? It sounds authentic. And when people could sense authenticity, realness, and preparedness in an interview, you're setting yourself up beautifully. All right? I'm not guaranteeing that you will get the job. I'm just saying you're giving yourself a better chance. Okay? That's my take. Lovely.
Lovely out here being challenged. Her eyes rolling to the side.
No, I think there's something that you said that I want to highlight back for everyone is being able to walk your resume through and connecting it to the company culture, which means that you had to be able to identify what the culture is, which means you also had to do research or be able in that moment to ask that question early on in the interview to say, hey, like when people say, oh, do you have any questions? A lot of people like the worst thing that I hated in interviews, if I asked you if you had any questions or clarifying things and you had nothing to ask, that scared me. You know why? Because a lot of the customer positions that I was trying, it's front facing. You had to deal with people, introspection. I'm gauging your interest. I'm gauging to understand like, what is your interest concerning this company? You had no questions? Scary. So just kind of put that to the mark, but good questions matter to me as well. So one of the biggest things, I think, if you are going to be able to walk through your resume and talk and connect it with the company's culture, you first have to understand what the company culture was. You had to do your research. A lot of companies have at least their tenets of their culture on their website. So you want to go into that page and look, oh, okay, these are the 5 values that they have, and already know them. You have to be prepared. I think it goes back to being prepared and alignment. I think people are trying to throw spaghetti on the wall and wondering why it's not sticking. And efforts that are specific, efforts that are narrowed down actually lead to better results.
With that being said, I think I want to leave people with like these action items, and that's one of the things that we always do. So to your point, Mike, having been in this situation, having applied for many of jobs, maybe you saw a lot of like the no's as well, filling those burn of those answers. What have you done to really make yourself a better applicant or competitor in these stages, as far as resume and also interviews? So if you give us like 5 points, like what do somebody need to do today to be better on the resume, as well as be better at interviews? What are the things that you definitely want to come across with people?
Now, for many of us who are alumni of a school like Florida State or other schools, you have free access to career services resources. I'm talking about the resume, templates. I'm talking about even cover letters as well. So definitely utilize the access that's available to you when it comes to the resume or even the cover letters, and it's free. If you find yourself paying for resume services out there, unless it's a really, really good deal, or you're doing that to support a homie or a friend, then don't do it. Don't do it. Utilize the free sources that exist out there. Go to other school websites like UC Berkeley, Purdue University, and they have the information there, so utilize the information. 2, when it comes to your resume, don't lie. Don't. Oh God.
No edits out here. No edits. Mike is getting a call, so continue.
Don't lie. Don't lie on the resume. Make sure you're being authentic. You're being genuine about your experiences. Use the necessary action verbs that connects to your soft skills as well. Never underestimate a soft skill like communication. Communication is a universal type of skill set that multiple companies all around the world enjoy, prefer, because when you're able to communicate, you're able to connect, you're able to articulate, you're able to explain. And that is something that is valuable. And number 3, never underestimate the value of a cover letter. All right. I know the cover letter itself, it's a topic we didn't talk about that much today, but never underestimate the value of the cover letter in conjunction with your resume. The cover letter allows you the opportunity to explain, to expound, to speak on specific skill sets, and also to showcase that you did research on the company throughout the cover letter as well. All right. And number 4, network. You have multiple avenues when it comes to networking. You have LinkedIn. If you have your organization, you have professional associations, you have friends who are in high-level positions that can help you network to other people as well. So with that being said, don't be afraid to network. And if networking is something that is truly scary for you, utilize the resources that are available to you. Utilize your career services resources. And just in case you do have access to something called LinkedIn Learning, review videos on networking. Do something called the informational interview, which is one of the highest levels of networking. It's interviewing in reverse. So network. Watch videos on LinkedIn Learning. Tap into your resources so you can have like a better understanding of networking. And 5, and this is probably one of the most important advices I ever received, don't be afraid of failure. Treat failure as a learning opportunity. If somebody says no to you because you lack this type of skill, that type of skill, that type of experience, and guess what? You gain that type of skill, that type of experience to make yourself a better candidate. All right? Failure is okay as long as you're putting the necessary effort there. All right? And after. Before and after failure, make sure you're putting the necessary effort there. And that's 5, right, Law?
Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. So Lovely, what's up? What's your thoughts?
I would say that make sure that whatever you just heard, you actually take action. I'm not going to repeat all these great steps, but take action. So I think a lot of times we'll be like listening and we know we have to make these changes. And then we get paralysis, right, of analysis. We're not, oh my gosh, can I really do this? Can I, like I talk to clients all the time about just sending an email. They're like, oh my gosh, how about if they don't respond and they think I'm a spammer? Then that's your no, go get your yes. Somebody has a yes for you. So just be able to take action on some of the things that you've heard today.
Yeah, and I think for myself, I'm gonna leave everybody with the 3 things that I believe is working on those soft skills. I think those are things that people typically neglect and aren't really cognizant of. Especially, you can start working at those things as early as like high school. You know, like giving your kids, especially for some parents out there, if you have kids that aren't doing a lot, they're just playing video games, so on and so forth, try to enroll them in different activities so they can actually learn team building or even be engaged in the school or for the most part, maybe even the debate team, things to just really get people to speak and communicate effectively. I think that's one of the key figures that's going to change the world for a lot of people in the next 10 to 40 years. This is going to be very important. Those that are unable to speak, those that sit in the background, those that are very quiet, won't get the opportunities that they need or deserve. So if we're asking about, do we deserve the raise? Do you speak up for the raise? On top of that, I would say that, to Mike's point, there are a lot of free education available on YouTube. Khan University does an excellent job of this. And a lot of universities, Khan Academy, that's the name of it. But a lot of other universities do an excellent job of really showcasing how do you actually effectively write a resume and how do you develop that more. And on top of it, I would say, and I'll probably double down yet again on the communication aspect, even like moving away from whatever circle that you're always within. So if you're always hanging out with the same 4 people, you're just going to become the average of that. So if you're not in a situation where you're branching out and learning from others, then you're not growing. So please stop moving in the same circles too much, because your friends are going to always be your friends, but those opportunities are going to always be fleeting to you if you're not going out there and chasing and figuring out what you guys are missing. So step outside your comfort zone, learn from others, and move forward. With that being said, yet again, my name is Lawrence Delvis Gonzalez. I'm one of the hosts of the Financial Griot, along with lovely Melderleys. We were here having a discussion with Michael Theodore, who's actually been in the hustle, been in the understanding of how to change the lives of people at the academic level. So college is not technically a scam. It's how you use it and how you use the tools available to you. So don't waste your time, don't waste your energy. And Mike, do you want to have a last word? Because it's on you. You want to share it where people could find you, or last words for the people?
Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Michael Theodore, New York University, or Michael Theodore, Florida State University, and you'll be able to find me. And just know this: during this whole entire process, job search process, resume creation, networking, I want you to do this. I want you to use this quote: believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there's something inside of you that's greater than any obstacle. Christian D. Larson. So look up that quote, become that quote, believe in that quote. You got this. The job search process is this. It's a process. And just like any other process, it's learnable. So you got this. Good luck, everyone. I love you. I believe in you. And if you need to reach out to me, definitely look me up on LinkedIn. I look forward to having future conversations with you great people. And thank you, Law. Thank you, Lovely, for having me.
Yes. And also, I would throw some shade at the very end that Mike has not listened to the Financial Griot. So since you're listening to it, please share, like, subscribe, and review. And we're going to hold Mike to the fire that he needs to review, the Financial Griot. So you need to watch some of these episodes, listen to it. And definitely we look forward to you networking with us as well as networking with other people to grow the community. Thank you.
Will do. No problem, bro.
With that being said yet again, adios, everybody. I love you. Like, what is he saying? Like, nobody knows. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.